So you mentioned that you worked on a live Hocus Pocus show. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
About 10 years ago, I realized that no one was really doing anything for Hocus Pocus for Halloween because drag queens love to portray every character in the book, Morticia Adams and the rest. And I thought, why don't we do something with Hocus Pocus? I've always loved that. And I thought, this is my childhood dream in realization. So I put together a small little 10-minute show at a bar, which I thought we'll have a couple people come in, see it, throw us some tips and whatever. And the bar manager said, why don't we put it on the magazine, the local entertainment magazine here in Florida? And I said, okay, and thinking nothing of it. And the night of the show, I think it was like 500 people lined up around the block and for several blocks down to go see the show. And it was packed so full that the fire marshal actually came and said, "No more. you gotta close the doors." Yeah, it was nuts. So to have that happen, I thought, okay, there's something to this. So clearly we did something right. So we did the show. People were obsessed with it. It was all fantastic. And then um, the next year we did it, we made it a little bit bigger. We did two seatings. We had all the same amount of people came in, then some more. So we were thinking, okay, well, clearly people love this. We have to do something more with this. So we put it on tour. We took it around to different cities. And the show's just grown every year. And now we've gotten so big that we're actually a theater show now, which is a huge drag tribute to Hocus Pocus. And we do an abridged version of the movie live on stage. And it's all the characters and massive replica sets of their house and the graveyard scenes and everything else, and screen accurate costumes. It's really a wonderful, nostalgic experience portrayed by drag queens, and they get to come out and see this wonderful show with an awesome pre-show, which is all Disney villains, and we get people from far and wide. We did a show. We started the shows in theaters, I think, about 5 years ago, and we have people that are flying from other states to come see the show because they've heard so much about it. We've actually um, heard that even Disney has been to see the show, and yeah, it's very interesting to see. So I'm shocked at how it's grown and expanded over the years, but it's a wonderful way to tribute this movie, and we're so happy to be able to give people something fun to go do and see for the Halloween season versus just the average Halloween party or this side of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because there's a lot of people that love this movie so much, and for them to just be enamored with it the way they are is wonderful for us.
Right, there's a huge fan base around Hocus Pocus.
Huge, huge. And at the time we started the show, there wasn't all the merchandise and the this and that and the sequels back then. We had done it when it was just kind of that movie that people watched on Fox Family every year, and now it's this massive thing. And we got in, thankfully. Before that, we found out a few years ago that we are the original and longest running Hocus Pocus tribute show in the country. So that's a great achievement to have, and that we got in, before anyone else started catching on to the trend. Now everybody wants to do Hocus Pocus. Every drag queen on the planet is dressed up as Winifred Sanderson this year, but I did it first. Well, not really, but
Well, congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you very much. We plan on touring the show outside of Florida in the next couple of years, so hopefully we'll be able to get to a city near you someday.
Yeah, I would love that. Do you have anything coming up in the future we should be keeping our eyes out? Or
Yes, actually, yeah. Besides Hocus Pocus, I'm a regular drag entertainer, both in Florida and around the country. I have my own touring show called Hilariously Inappropriate Drag Queen Bingo, and the show works from Florida to California. I have, I think, 27 states that I do them in now. The show is a 2-hour comedy show that intermixes bingo with raunchy, dirty stories and comedy, and it really kind of makes it for an overall experience. You're not just playing bingo, you're not just seeing comedy, you're constantly active with the show. And I get a chance to roast everyone in the audience for 2 hours, and they find it hysterical. I've actually completed my 770th show just recently. I've been doing them since September of 2020, so I've toured the whole country and done them everywhere, and I'm expanding to new cities every month. I add new ones. I just added Michigan and Illinois this month, and then next month I'm talking to a venue in upstate New York to go up there, and then hopefully the city soon.
you've been everywhere.
I'm shocked. You never think when you start a drag career like this that you're going to be working outside of your local bars and clubs. Because I've worked, for almost 7, 8, 9 years before I started doing any type of traveling. I was just working locally in the gay bars and clubs here, and now I'm working large venues, seating hundreds of people across the country. It's crazy. So it's a blast. Especially, I wrote the show during the pandemic, and it's a blast to see people reacting. When you think something's funny, but when you put it out in front of someone else, you're like always kind of nervous about what are they going to laugh at this. It's very validating to write out jokes and comedy and stories and put it out in front of people and watch them laugh until they're like crying and slapping the table. So to me, that's a really validating experience. My father was a stand-up comedian an entertainer for 40 years, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps somehow. He wasn't a drag queen, of course, but I found a way to kind of work it all together. So I'm telling jokes and being ridiculous, and I get to be anonymous essentially, because when I get off stage, I'm not like a regular stand-up comedian where you see them for real who they are. That's two makeup wipes and hit the door, and no one knows who I was on stage. So that's kind of a gift as a side of that. So
What kind of looks or makeup looks do you usually have during your show?
I go for a mix of 80s meets camp meets drag. It's kind of a little bit of everything. I love ridiculous hair colors. I like big outrageous costumes and bright patterns. Those are the things that I go for. Leopard and animal print and cheetah print is my absolute favorite thing. So for me, I kind of go for a little bit of everything. I don't do the huge drag hair, so I like to be kind of somewhere in the middle. Um, Drag evolves constantly, so you have to kind of update your look every now and then to kind of stay current with all the different trends and things that are happening. But this is kind of my favorite look because it's kind of soft. It's a little bit in the middle. It's not too harsh. It's not too big. And then it's very palatable for people, especially when you're doing shows in conservative states where people are trying to just gradually adjust to drag queens as it is. I don't want to go in with like giant Ronald McDonald eyebrows and hair that's this big. But yeah, this is some of my favorite looks like that. I also am really big on shoulder pads. I love a big, pronounced shoulder. I love kind of like the blazer jackets that are designed to be more of like a dress jacket, and thigh high boots, that kind of thing, and big hoop earrings, of course, so I have a place to rest my ankles. So, but those are all kind of my aesthetic, and it's something that a lot of people don't really kind of fall into, because everyone in drag now wants to be this beautiful aesthetic with these up close model pictures and this couture looks and stuff. I just want to look insane and go on stage and people go, "Oh my God, what is she wearing? It's fabulous," and then just do the show from there.
What was your craziest look?
I've done a couple of those actually. The craziest looks I've done are always around Halloween for some reason. I had one as The Exorcist where I was literally covered in the pea soup that she's blah blah blah, and so that was fun. Walking down the sidewalk, the makeup that I had done looked so much like Reagan that people were kind of like taken aback by it. So there's those types of things. Or when I do kind of more of the outrageous looks where I've got large, spiky shoulder pads and 5 or 6 inch platform shoes, that kind of thing. I kind of pull it out of the bag and do stuff different, or I do all head to toe neon, that kind of stuff. It just really stops people in their tracks, and I enjoy that. I like making a spectacle of myself as much as possible, but this in some states is enough to do it.
Well, we're so excited that you were on the blog. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.